Hello, and we've lost Matthew.
Yes, we lost Matthew somewhere in there.
He'll probably be back in a minute. Welcome to
Oh,
the Crystal Clear Point Studios with Miles of Smiles Events. I'm Deborah Colleen Rose. This is Lou Morris, Lulu, and Matthew was here and he's gone. Now we're going to forgive him, and we're going to give him a lot of room, and we're going to give him a lot of grace today because he's in the hospital, but he still wanted to be on the podcast, which I love. So anyway, we're going to see if he logs back in. Do you think he even knows? Here's what's funny. He's on pain meds. Let me just tell you people this. He's on pain meds. And I have never had such interesting text messages, especially from a gay man in my life. There he is.
there he is.
Hi, sweetie. He's got that new look too, that off the shoulder look. It's very hot and very sexy.
Oh,
He looks so intense. He looks kind of like a
yeah.
mad right now. It's alive. It's
It
alive.
says you are connecting to audio.
Yeah. Oh my God, look how close his finger is. Oh, you can do it. That's cool. Lou, did
Yeah.
you get your website up?
Oh, yes, my website is up and I've already corrected some of the pictures. There's a lot of pictures that were just placeholders.
Yeah.
So I'm making photographs of the bottles with the labels on them instead of just blank bottles.
There we go.
There he is. There's my favorite husband, second to
Uh,
Scott.
I don't know what happened there.
That was weird, but
That's
normal
okay.
for us.
I got the introduction, and then all of a sudden, half the introduction, a message popped up, and I was like, okay, clicked it, and all of a sudden I was just disconnected. So, but here I am.
Let me tell you what you missed. Okay. What you missed was me doing the shimmy because I love the music on the video and it just gets me going to the shimmy. It gets me all
It is
wired.
catchy, isn't it?
It is. I love it. So I was just telling them I have not gotten such weird text messages in my life as I've gotten from you recently. So to honor you and your headspace, we're going to
Uh,
talk about what's weird today, the weird things that people do. And the way this whole thing has started today, it kind of falls right in line with our theme.
mhm.
But can I tell y'all one thing real quick before we get going?
Tell us.
I don't know why I'm so tickled by this, but I am. Okay. So I am a master practitioner in neuro linguistic programming, and I
Mhm.
am very fond of this pseudoscience or whatever you care to call it. I don't care. Tony Robbins is almost a billionaire off of what he did with NLP. And so one of my dreams, one of my bucket list items was to meet Richard Bandler and take one of his courses, which I got a chance to do in November. And they're right. Don't ever meet your heroes. Don't meet them. It takes all the fun out of it. It really does. And I'm not going to belabor the fact it was just not the experience that I wanted. But I thought, you know what? This is the experience I want. So on my new branded website for Deborah Colleen Rose, I have a blog. And one of the articles I posted last night on the blog was what is NLP? And the picture on my blog is a picture of me and Richard Bandler on there.
That's awesome.
And I named the picture Deborah Colleen Rose with Richard Bandler. And he does have wonderful branding and wonderful internet presence. So I'm hoping eventually some of my meta tags will connect to his and help me on my branding journey. And that tickles me.
Absolutely. And keep on writing blog posts that drop names. That's a great way to do it.
Well, I'm just posting. I'm finding a lot of articles. There's a lot of things I like to read. I read a lot. And so I'm just going to share the articles that I think are valid and important and move me. And then I will, of course, link it to the original website, give it
Yep.
credit, And I don't know why more people don't do that, actually. I don't know why everybody thinks they have to own everything and get credit for everything. I mean, you do
Yeah.
not have to reinvent the wheel. You just don't. There's no point. You can improve it, you can color it, you can paint it, but you don't have to reinvent the process.
I would
So
say, I mean, what's really popular is for people to write kind of an introduction, to kind of put their name on it or put their spin on it,
good
and then say,
idea.
well, here's the article, or here's the blog post. That way you are still kind of like putting yourself into it, and people know that you didn't just like pull the article in and then leave it. You actually have read it, and you're, right there, that
Well,
you've done.
I did post my chicken soup story that got me writing originally, as a public author. And I put that on there. And I actually put one of my original poems on there because it was about personal growth and it was very short and everything. So I plan to do a lot of my own writing, but I'm going to,
Yeah.
mix into the thing, some other stuff. So that's not a weird thing that I do, but it kind of is a weird thing I do. And because it's not about ego for me, it's about self-exploration. And I go back and I look at things, go, why did I do that? Oh, and I don't think that way anymore, or I have gone so past that. So it's a great way for me to do self-exploration, to revisit some of the things I've written in the past, whether they got published or not. So
Well, that's what I
Gotcha.
did with my blog. I just the first blog came straight off the holistic Chamber of Commerce.
oh, cool.
And I gave them credit, of course,
Yeah.
but how to select a practitioner. And then the others are mine that I did. Echinacea and elderberries and something else.
Yeah.
But
Well,
I've got some more to go up. I've already done about 11 blogs.
Yeah. I mean, I try to schedule mine just to make sure that, like, people kind of know that, like, well, every Friday, they're going to get a blog article.
Mhm.
So it's kind of how I do it. But I mean, there's a lot of, I guess, how people schedule their stuff is different. I just try to be consistent. That's all I try to do.
Well, this early in my endeavors, when you get it,
now, I like to schedule ahead of time too, and I have enough written stuff that I can still use, that I could like schedule 4 to 6 weeks out, which would give me a break, which is probably what I'll do when I have time to sit down and do some editing and stuff. And
Right.
let me say this. Luann and I are doing all this crap, this wonderful stuff, because of Dr. Pierce. He is the branding expert, and that's kind of one of the reasons why we even know him. I was trying to remember how we got hooked up, and I can't remember. It's kind of like one of my one night stands. Like, how did that happen? I don't remember.
I, honestly, how did we get back in touch?
Oh, I know. It just hit me. I got on Facebook. I do this all the time and rarely get any response. But I got on there one day and I said, I would really like to connect with someone who'd like to barter. And
Oh
I
yeah,
have
yeah, yeah.
I have a fairly decent social media presence, and I need some help. And boy, I mean, within 2 minutes, Matthew was on it, emailing me or texting me, PMing
Yeah.
me, whatever, getting a hold of me and shaking my tree. And so I mean, it just went that smoothly. It really did, you know. And we just started talking, and it was shocking how much we had in common, how we thought a lot. And we spent, I think, probably a good hour of the conversation talking about our spirituality more than anything.
Actually, our first conversation was a long conversation. It was about 2 hours. The last hour, I was trying to direct it to all the stuff that you needed to get accomplished. But yeah, I mean, it was a great conversation. It was an amazing conversation.
Well, I have to apologize because I bet I was a pain in the butt. But when I meet someone that's like-minded, I get so excited, which kind of helps us to transgress or transpire into our subject,
Yeah,
weirdness. And
yeah,
what is
absolutely.
weird? And what weird things do you do? And so I'm just going to start with the question to you two. What weird things do you guys do? What would you
Okay,
do?
I am 53 years old. Okay, and I go when I go into the bathroom and I go to the bathroom, I flush the toilet. Okay, I have to wait until the toilet is completely flushed before I can wash my hands.
Oh my gosh, I do that too.
And for some reason, I don't know why it was ingrained in my head that the water was the same, and it's not, but for some reason, it's ingrained in my brain. It's just one of those things that I do. I go to the bathroom, have to wait for the toilet to fill up completely, and then I can wash my hands.
Well, I know why I do it, because we lived in Arkansas in an old house that was not very well built, and we would stand there and watch it to make sure it filled up but didn't fill over. Yeah, I don't know, just being safe, taking precautions, because you never knew if it was going to get plugged, especially if it had been raining, I don't know
Oh
what
yeah,
rain likes, but so that's funny, and it just gets ingrained in your head, doesn't it?
it does.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. We have too much in common sometimes. It's a little scary. So,
Well, I can't think of anything weird I do right now because I do it and I don't think about it. But as a child, we had a gravel driveway, and my mother said that I would pick up the little rocks and I would feel them like this, and then I would eat them.
did you
She said
swallow?
Eight
you would
rocks.
hold that little rock in your hand until you were sure it was smooth. Eat it.
Okay, now I'm really freaking out.
Oh wow, wow. Okay.
But I also, about the same time, we had a big infestation of rats in North Texas.
Ooh.
And my mom, I guess, was afraid of them. And we drove in one night, and there was one sitting there in the headlights. She goes, "Oh my God, Mama." And I just looked at her, got out of the car, went to the garage, got the shovel, and smashed it. I
How
don't
old were
remember this. I don't remember this. And then I got back in the car and I said, "Okay, it's done."
It's done.
Oh my goodness. That's hilarious. That is, oh my, it's
So,
almost
Luann, you started early with the thoughts of shovels and different types of things.
Yes,
okay.
I tell my friends, I always carry a shovel. You can call me.
Yeah, there you
Oh
go.
my gosh. Oh my gosh. That's okay. So you ate rocks. I ate something weird. And
What'd you?
I can still remember how it tastes. And I remember how much I loved it. I used to eat cigarette ashes. I used
Well, I
to
mean, I guess they're ashes. I mean,
lick
yeah.
my finger and dip it into the ashtray. My dad was a smoker, and then lick my finger after it
So
had
what
Oh,
did
ashes
it
on.
taste like?
It was salty and it was a little bitter with a sweet undertone. It's like wine. It was salty with a little bit of an undertone.
a little bit of undertone of wine.
But I
It's
mean,
good
it just
vintage.
and you I didn't like the white part of the ashes, but so the darker the ash, the better it was. It was just I can still remember the taste. I mean, if someone gave it to me when my eyes were closed, I'd go, cigarette ashes. I would know exactly what it tastes
Yeah.
like.
Well, the only weird thing that I ate, and it was pretty weird, this I was at this festival and how all different kinds of foods from all over the world. And I cannot remember what station I was at, but they had sugared crickets. And
Oh,
so they were crickets, and the crickets were like deep fried.
uh-huh. I've had them.
But I mean, that's it. They were deep fried, and then they got out and they had this honey coating that went on
Hmm.
them. And so you just picked them up and ate them, and it was crunchy. I mean, and
Crunchy and sweet.
yeah, but it tasted like you took French fries and drizzled honey all over them. That's what it tasted like.
They're good. They're delicious. I wouldn't try the worms. Do they have worms there too?
No, I didn't see the worms.
Yeah, I'm not going to try worms. Worms are full of dirt.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, not doing that.
Well, we're very privileged here in the United States that we don't have to eat grasshoppers and crickets and worms, but
Yeah,
there are societies all around the world that do because that's all they have.
yeah,
Well, you
absolutely.
do what you do. How do people start eating oysters? I mean, seriously, they woke up and they go, "Oh my God, wouldn't it be a great delicacy to eat escargot and oysters?" I mean, it's really
Yeah.
not different than eating worms when you think about it. So, but they're a delicacy.
Yeah, I mean, God, there's other things that I mean, like if you go to a festival, you're always going to see kind of like weird, weird things. Um, so I mean, it's that eating crickets was not a big thing for me. I can't think of, the weird things that I mean, I have a lot of weird things I do. I mean, just a lot of weird things. Like for example, I work with computers all the time. I work with, on websites and graphic design and so on and so forth. Um, I have a real problem keeping a calendar. I have to have one of those, what do you call it? The big black calendars to write everything on. I have to do it by hand. Isn't that weird?
Well, for a long time, I had an address book. She's
Yeah,
laughing
I am
because
laughing.
it's
because of the same thing. I had to have it in black and white in my
I had to have it.
hand.
I used to do
Yeah,
that, but now I have to here I go the other direction now. If I have something electronically, I have to be able to access it on both my phones, on my
yeah,
tablet, and my computer. And if it all doesn't sync properly, I want to claw my face. I can't stand that. It makes me bat crazy.
yeah.
But don't you find it difficult to actually even determine what you do that's weird? Because people tell me I'm weird all the time. And I'm like, what's weird about that? I mean, all kinds of things. Like
Mhm.
I'll walk into the grocery store and salute the cashier. Hi, how you doing? And
Well, now that's different.
and people always tell me, don't do that. That's weird. I'm like, why is it weird? You're making them smile, you're making them laugh. I like to do Facebook Live all the time, and it just pisses everybody off, which is one of the reasons why I still do it, because I like to aggravate people.
And she always does it when my hair is sticking up sideways and I don't
You
have any
should comb your
makeup
hair
on.
more often. Comb your hair more often.
I don't have any makeup on. And she's going, Louise, today we
let's
blow
let's
up. And I
go.
was like, oh,
Let's do a Facebook Live. You look great. Don't worry about it. Come on, let's go.
That's what I do. That's exactly what I say. And I love it because like 4 years later, it will pop up in my memories. I'm like, oh, that was so much fun when we did that. Everything I do on Facebook, okay, is for me. I don't give
Yeah.
a shit if anyone reads it or not. It's about it. Facebook has become my form of scrapbooking. Is that
Oh
right?
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I want to make
yeah.
sure. Sometimes I reverse my words. That's weird. I reverse my words. I say book scrapping instead of scrapbooking. So
Mhm.
then
Scrapbook.
I have to think if I said it right. And I love it because I go back and go, oh, I forgot about that. And I've gotten to where I'm more detailed because sometimes things will pop up and I have put something vague in there. I'm like, I have no idea what I was talking about. What was that? And it was important enough for me to want to remember it, but I didn't
Yeah.
put enough details in it. Yeah. So I've gotten more detailed. So I enjoy doing that.
I guess from there's some things that I do from I guess a spiritual standpoint that other people don't understand. Like for example, I won't blow out candles. I snuff out candles.
I have all these little different snuffers, all
Yep.
different kinds.
Well, that's the way you're supposed to do
It's
Exactly.
practical. If you blow too hard, you'll blow the wax in your face. Ask me how I know. So that's something I started years ago.
Yeah. And I don't. I mean, I was taught that way. That if you like use your breath to blow out a candle, that breath has intention, and that candle will take that intention and
Oh,
like put and place it where it needs to go. And so that's the reason why I don't blow out candles, because if I'm thinking anything or if my mind is creating something, it just kind of goes with it.
I'm lighting a
So
bunch of candles today and blowing them out.
yeah,
I've got some intentions.
Let's see, what did they tell me? If you blow out a candle, you blow your wish away or something like
yeah,
that.
that's
Really?
it.
Then why don't
That's
we
right.
blow out birthday candles and make a wish?
Oh,
That's why
we do
you
want to
make
blow
a
our
wish
wish
and blow
away.
out a candle. Yeah, you blow that wish away, but that's with intention. I mean, that you
Yeah.
always ask beforehand.
I
You
always
sent
wondered
that
about.
wish out into the universe.
Mhm.
What do y'all want to hear some of the things on my list, and then we can add more of our stuff as we go
Sure.
along?
Yeah, absolutely.
This is number 4 on the list, but it's the first one that pops out at me every time I pick it up. So I'm going to start with it. He goes, I smell my headphones after wearing them.
No, don't do that.
Why?
Wha-
I'm wondering why.
I don't know. I mean, maybe it's because they smell really waxy, he cleans them.
I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, that's kind of strange.
I mean, I know people smell their clothes if they want to wear them again. They do that. I'm trying to think if there's anything. Now, I have to admit, my grandmother smelt everything, and I do like smell food before I prepare it. And if I don't know what something is, I'll sniff it. And everybody in the family will make fun of me, go, oh, you're just like Mimi. Because, everybody used to say that she'd pick up a dog turd and smell it if she didn't know what it was. I mean, she smelled everything. But how do you know if something's fresh or if it's off? I mean, I'm highly sensitive to smells, you know?
Same here.
So, all right, this one I love.
Go ahead.
This one I love. I should call this guy and hire him. He says, one time I got off the subway in New York City and I was super early for an appointment. So I picked a random guy and just followed him on foot for like 30 minutes, pretending I was a private detective or something. And I always kept about a half a block behind. He turned this way and that, and eventually went into a building where I lived 9 years earlier. It was weird, and so was I.
Oh my gosh.
He turned into the building where the guy lived.
The guy went into a building where he used to live. He's just been following this random guy, killing time, which I think is fun. I do that all the time myself because it keeps me sharp for surveillance. So I do, when I have time, I'll pick out a car and follow it for a while, whatever. But he followed this guy, and the guy actually went into a building where he used to live 9 years before. Now, what are the odds of that in New York?
I
Very
mean, it's,
slim.
yeah, very slim.
Yeah.
But I have something similar to that I do that people think is weird. Like I'll go to a mall or something and sit down in the middle of the mall, and as people are walking past, I can't hear them, or whatever, but I make up the conversation like that's going on between them. Like I like take on the parts, and you're just like, oh, I don't want that for dinner. Well, we're gonna have that for dinner. That's all that we have left in the house. Well, I wanted steak. Well, we don't have steak. Or just just make up dialogue. But it's funny as hell. I mean, I mean, when I do it with people around, they're like,
You know, there are people on TikTok that are making a bunch of money now doing stuff like that. All the little reels and videos where they put in the fake dialogue and everything. So, is it genius or is it weird? You decide.
I don't know. I mean, it's kind of tough to come up with a dialogue like right on the spot, for someone. But I love doing it. It kind of brings me joy and makes me giggle.
I like that stuff. Yeah, that would be fun. I'd like to sit behind you and listen to you do that.
And I make up the voices as I go. I mean, oh, the old man voice. I can do that voice. And then, of course, I have this one, which is fabulous.
Oh.
So I make up all the different things. I can talk like a baby, so I can hear the term baby. Yeah.
Okay, so my best impersonation is the guy in Pulp Fiction. Who is he? Not John Travolta, but the other one, where he's always MF and everything.
Yeah.
So,
What's his name?
oh, I can't remember.
I can't remember either.
Samuel Jackson. Samuel Jackson.
Yeah, Samuel Jackson.
That's the only impersonation I do.
Well, what's the impersonation? Yeah, do it.
Yeah, well, no, because you only need to say 2 words.
Oh, well,
And you know me,
Trying not to say those words.
well, I
okay.
try not to.
I have one more. And if
Uh-oh.
you have ever watched cartoons and you're from my generation, you'll probably know who this is. Okay. I'm so happy.
Oh, hey, Martian. Martian.
No.
No, Droopy Dog.
Droopy
Yes.
Dog. It sounded more like Martian to me. The Martian.
I tried that accent or to do that. I can't do it. I mean, I have a friend that does it perfectly, but yeah, I can't do it.
My
So
favorite
that's
cartoon
another.
on, go ahead.
No, it's just like that's just something that I do is I make up voices for different things. I've done it for a coffee cup before, and sat and had a conversation with a coffee cup. That people.
I can't do
I'm
voices.
sorry,
I
is
can't
it?
do accents.
I think that's certifiable, Matthew.
What is it? That
Talking to your coffee cup, I think that means you're certifiable.
okay? Well, okay,
You're
let's do
kind
it.
of fuzzy. You're kind of fuzzy, Lou.
What do you mean?
Oh, I guess you weren't close enough to the mic because when you lean forward, I can hear you better.
Oh, I will lean forward then.
That's much
I
better.
will. I will lean forward then.
Talking about cartoons, you know what my favorite cartoon quote is?
What is it?
Fortunately, I keep my feathers numbered for just such an occasion.
Is that Daffy Duck?
No, that's the big rooster.
Oh,
Yeah.
Foghorn Leghorn.
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
I love
So,
that one for some reason.
and it wasn't until later that I found out what a chicken hawk was, and it was like a tongue in cheek because a chicken hawk is a older gay male that is looking for a young guy.
Mhm.
Really?
Yes,
You,
chicken hawk.
you didn't know that?
Sorry. I'm
Yeah.
She's
sheltered.
so innocent. She's so innocent. We'll take you down to Oakland one day and we'll go on a hunt for colored bandanas and teach you about the system.
Oh my God, no. Oh my God. Oh my God. Luann would be freaking out. She would be
I
so.
know. It'd be fun.
Yeah, it would be fun. It would be fun to see her reaction, you know. Because she probably doesn't know what some of them actually are and what you actually do.
Yeah, but here's what Luann will do. When she gets shocked, she gets real bold. And we would say, okay, this means blah, blah, blah. And she'd run up to the person and go, why do you do that?
And the people down there, they'll tell you.
Yeah,
They
they
will
will.
tell you.
They'll show you. They'll show you. Yes, they will.
Yeah, they
All
will.
right. Y'all ready for another one? This one is pretty cool. I stole over 1,000 wafers from church because I really liked the communion wafers and didn't know where else to get them. I felt really blessed and cursed for a long time.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
I mean, I
Yeah.
wonder if they ate them with their
Yeah.
soup or if they put cream cheese on them or what do they do?
Have a little wine with them. I mean,
I think they taste like cardboard.
I
Well,
do
this
too.
church had some good ones. We had good communion crackers, and I found out later on that our church that I used to go to bought these kosher crackers from the Tom Thumb and Richardson, and they were cheese flavored. Oh my God, I just love those crackers.
My church, they just like literally shredded bread and put
Mhm.
it in a bowl.
Some
Really?
just
I don't.
passed
Yeah,
what some just cut the bread in half and passed it around. You pinched off.
yeah.
No, I don't
Pinch
want
off.
to do that. I don't want to do that. People touched it. No, I don't mind
Well,
God
they
touching.
probably haven't done that since COVID, but
No, that's not
Yeah.
true. That's not true. We went to Easter sunrise services out at the lake, and they had the bread already torn. So I'm assuming they had to touch it. I don't know how they touched it. I didn't think about it. But I don't know what group does this. I've seen some Methodist churches do this, but I think others do, where they take the bread and they dip it in the
Dip
goblet of
it. Yeah.
wine. I don't get that. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't get that. And also, you got everybody's dippy bread in there, and then they get and there's little chunks floating around if you're at the end of the line, and I know you're supposed to be focused on the spiritual connotations here, but I'm also a realist and a purist. Okay,
Yeah.
so they're in conflict. They're in
well,
conflict when it happens.
at the Catholic Church, everyone used to take a sip of wine out of a chalice,
Yeah.
out of the same chalice. Now, the servers would take a cloth and wipe it off before the next person. But the bread dipping thing is because you dip the bread and you don't touch the chalice with your mouth.
Ah, okay. But at the same time, you got all that dippy bread floating around, you
Well,
know?
you're not going to drink it, so get over it.
You're right. I'm not going to drink it.
Mhm.
I am not going to drink. You know, okay. So in relationship to this point, this was not my fault. I was only like 8 or 9 years old, but my best friend in elementary school was Catholic. And I went to church with her if I spent the night Saturday nights. And one of the first times I spent the night with her, we go to Catholic Mass. All right. Beautiful, really, amazed and enthralled because, in a little Southern Baptist church, we didn't have anything like what was going on here, because even in Texarkana, Catholic church is nice. All right. And so they get up to walk up. I had to be over 8 because I'd already been baptized. And they go up there and I go, "What are we doing?" She goes, "We're taking communion." So I went up there with them because I took communion in my church. And I'm behind all them. And so I'm up there and I got the wafer and I got the wine. And then all of a sudden her mother realizes what I've done. And the priest saw her gasp. And I don't know what kind of conversation they had later on, but they were not allowed to take communion for 2 months because I was not Catholic and had taken communion, and they were responsible for me as a child.
Oh,
Isn't that weird?
I've never heard of that. I've never heard of that rule.
I
I
think
know
you just
that.
made it up.
Well, I
Yeah.
know that the Catholic Church, you're not supposed to take communion if you're not Catholic. I mean, and so I've been to services that I've refused communion, and I just sat in my seat.
Yeah, but I didn't know that. And I was
Yeah,
with
well, you're
them.
8 years old.
Yeah.
Well,
So, but I
there's
just thought that was kind of weird that that was their punishment, you
well,
know?
pay attention next time. A lot of
Watch the
times,
children.
if you're not Catholic, what you can do, you put your hand over your mouth once you get to the priest, and he will bless you. So
Oh, okay,
you don't take communion, but you get blessed.
gotcha.
Well, I was told
So
that
I
you
think
do this,
that's
you put your arms across your chest and then they'll bless you. Because I was at a Catholic funeral a couple of months ago, and that's what they told us to do. And I'm like, you know what? I just don't need to do any of this. So I just sat in my
well,
seat and was real quiet and real respectful because you know what? I didn't want to make any more mistakes. I figured I'd had my one Catholic mistake, and that was good for a lifetime. And I just didn't need to screw up anymore. So I don't care about God. I don't think there's a problem with God, but I sure don't need the Pope on my butt. I just
Yeah,
don't need
no.
the Pope on my butt. So, all right, here's another one. I have not read all these, so I may be
oh,
surprised
let's
there's
hear it.
no one. I was envious of my friends who were close with their cousins and relatives because I didn't have that dynamic with mine. So when I was younger, I would come up with stories about being close to an imaginary cousin and tell stories about us during school breaks. I had to create a fake profile account on social media for this cousin so she could add my friends too. I believe that's lying. Isn't that just lying? That's not weird. It's lying.
Well,
Okay. I had a friend. Go ahead, Luann.
is that like having an imaginary friend, though?
I think it's pretty extreme. A social media account. So this person had to be older. They're not like 3 going, "Oh, look, my Teddy talks."
Yeah. I had a friend one time that he wanted to do what he called a social experiment, and he created a Facebook page for an imaginary woman. Okay. And he knew this person to the point where, I mean, he could actually get pictures of her, doing different things and so on and so
Oh
forth.
my God.
And she didn't have a Facebook. She would not go on Facebook. I mean, she refused to do it. I mean, like it was a part of her religion that she was not on Facebook. So he knew he could get away with it. And yeah, so I mean, she got this guy to the point where he wanted to marry her. I mean, wanted to like tie the knot and yeah, everything. And
There you go,
so
Luann. That's how you get a man.
it was, I mean, but it was like really strange. And this guy, started like figuring out that, okay, well, wait a second, you said you were here, but then you're all of a sudden here. How do you do that so fast? You know, so he started figuring out stuff because he was actually tracking her movements.
That's just criminal.
Uh-huh.
That mentally ill and criminal. I'm sorry. Oh, that's scary.
And he let it go for like 6 months, and then finally, I mean, it was like this guy's like, well, we have to meet. If we, you know, if we don't meet, you know, I'll track you down. And so he's like,
That's a
oh hell
threat.
no. He's like, oh hell no. And so he like he told everybody, I'm sorry, this is my last post. I'm signing off for forever. I can't do the social media stuff. And that was it. Closed his account down and deleted his account and everything he needed to do. And I was like, so what did you get out of that? What I mean, what seriously, what did you get out of that? He goes, so a marriage proposal.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well,
So
this kind of goes hand in hand with what you just said. Do you have, hold on to your pants? You don't have any pants on right now, though, do you?
well, I have underwear on, yes.
Really? How many people wear underwear in the hospital? Not
I
me.
do.
Not
I
me.
do. You
Okay.
know, I'm one of those people that like, you know, I have no acetol, you know,
Yeah.
so I wear things to cover it up as much as I can.
I don't wear underwear at home. I don't wear underwear at the hospital. Oh, wait, I just don't wear underwear. Sorry. I go
I think
commando.
this is all TMI.
Oh,
Really?
okay.
Too
Get
much
over it.
information.
Well, Luann, I think you need to, you know, make sure that your panties are not in a wad. Okay.
Oh, snap.
I don't wear panties. Oh,
Oh, oh, she wears a thong.
Uh, they feel better if you wear them backwards.
I've heard that.
It's so much more fun if you wear them backwards. Think about it.
oh no, no.
Front to back.
Oh
Yes,
God.
That,
yes, I get it.
it's right in that itchy spot. Woo!
Oh my
Okay.
God. Seriously. TMI. We're moving on.
Okay, so
We're,
see, you don't have to cuss to be nasty. I could be nasty and not cuss. All right,
well,
so I downloaded Grinder because I thought maybe I was gay. But after a few dudes started messaging me, I was like, this is not for me, and deleted it. Why is that weird?
he
I
was
should have
probably
just
straight.
do
He was
what?
probably straight.
But he thought he
Okay.
was gay.
Yeah,
I think
but
it's
he's not.
weird that this is on the weird list. That makes no sense to me. Because I'm going to tell you right now, I bet probably 25% of the male population has done that.
Uh, they probably have. They probably have. I mean, I know profiles. I mean, I've used Grinder before, and it's weird. It really. I mean, there's people that are
Certifiable.
certified mental. Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, I've had experiences because I mean, we've talked about it. You know, there's a lot of phishing that happens out there, and people that don't have the, you know, the knowledge, you know, of what goes on in the internet, you know, can get taken for thousands upon thousands of dollars, you know. And that's, I mean, there's scams going on all the time, and yeah, they happen on Grinder all the time.
Well, I met a guy online through one of the dating services, and
Oh,
he was very polite, very nice. Told me what he did, and that he was going to who was that? Exxon. He was going to redo the Exxon headquarters in Cairo. Oh, well, cool. Isn't that cool? So he went. He supposedly went over there in 4 hours, and I went. I
four
knew
hours?
then, yeah. And
With
then
his
there was
own wings. You forgot that part. With his own wings.
well, and then there was something else he said that made me go, oh, he's not in my time zone. He's not even in the United States. And then I just kept chatting away, and he said, I was robbed today. Can you send me $300?
Oh, good
Oh yeah.
Lord. Oh, good Lord.
Yeah,
You know, they
it
have
was
that
a
on
long
Dr.
con.
Phil all the time. They had stories like that on Dr. Phil. And I was shocked at how these women spent thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars
Mhm.
on these guys. And they're these older women, and these guys are like young guys, and they're like, they've never even met him in person. And two of the women he had back on after he had proven that those were not real people, and they still kept sending money to that person
What?
online. Yes. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, if that had been my mother, I would have got her declared insane and taken over her finances because she wound up sending this guy like $700,000, I think they said.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. 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 Okay. Well, now we're back on the Catholic Church. This
Uh-oh.
guy chugged altar wine. He ate the communion host and then wheelied his BMX bike off the altar and down the aisle of the church. And there were three of them doing that.
Okay, I'm sorry. That's sacrilege to me.
It is. I'm like,
That
why would, but you think, what makes you even thinking of doing that? I mean,
Mm-mm.
what's twisted in your little brain that you think that's a good idea? Okay, maybe stealing the wine. You want to, you maybe because it's easy access and kids are stupid, but riding their bicycle and popping wheelies.
that no. I'm sorry. I mean, no.
I went to
No.
my church during the week when I was a kid. I walked all over town because I went over to see my grandmother and back over here. And we lived right down the street from the main square. And I would go in there and color. I had the coloring books and stuff, but I didn't tear things up.
I don't know. To me, this is someone who doesn't have any comprehension of what they're involved with. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So not knowing the age, if they're 14 or 15, they needed a good walloping. If they were
That was
8,
very disrespectful.
they
Oh
need a
yeah.
good education. Oh, this one's for you, Matthew.
Oh,
I used a dep I can't talk. Depilatory cream on my balls. Worst pain ever.
Wow.
okay, so I have a friend that thought it would be a good idea to go get a men's Brazilian wax because he
Wow.
wanted balls. And he didn't realize that, they don't just go in with like razor and scissors and he thought that they actually would go in and shave him. Okay. So he's like, "Hey, will you go with me? Be my support and everything else like that." And I was like, "I'll go with you, but I'm not gonna, be in the room." And he goes, "Ah, well, okay, no worries. You can sit in the lobby and everything like that." So I am sitting in the lobby, and he goes back, and they, I guess, apparently explain to him, what's going on, so on and so forth. And he's telling me this like afterwards. So the next thing I hear is this scream that you would, I mean, shattered glass. I mean, would shatter glass. And and so it was like it calmed down. It calmed down a little bit, and then you just heard it again. What? I mean, it was like a total, like, oh my god! And people in the waiting room were going, "I don't think I want to do this." They're looking at the door, scared as hell. And so I heard him coming out of the room, and he's going, "Nope, nope, 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 nope," and he burst into the waiting room, just burst into the waiting room from the other side, and he goes, "I don't care if my balls don't match, I'm leaving." And so we left.
Why didn't you videotape that? I would have been in that room with him so fast. Oh my God.
It was just like, and later, I mean, we're sitting, and he said it was the most uncomfortable ride home that he'd ever had.
Yeah.
But then again, I mean, okay, so talking about the things we do. In college, I used to, like, there was a wing place just down the road that would deliver to the dorm, and so my roommate and I would always order wings. Okay, we would get the hot, we get the mild, we get the barbecue, and we would get some other flavor. I can't remember what it was. So anyway, we would have a night of it, and we would talk and we'd just shoot the shit. Oops, sorry. And I mean, so, I didn't think anything about it. And, we kind of like, cleaned up and, had put the wings that we didn't eat in the refrigerator and threw away the other boxes, so on and so forth. And my friend Andy, I mean, my roommate Andy, went to the bathroom to clean up, so on and so forth. And I had hand wipes, so I mean that's what I used. And then all of a sudden he comes back, and not like 30 minutes later, he's like doing this little dance. And I'm like, Andy, are you okay? And he goes, no. He goes, I didn't wash my hands before I touched myself. And he goes, I got a hot sauce all over my penis. And he's like, it burns like hell. And so he's dancing around the room for like the next hour because I mean, I was like, hey, here, do you want a hand wipe? Do you want to try to get that off? And he's like, it just burns. It just burns. It just burns.
Well, I would try to get it off.
Well, you know what does that, don't you? See, you should have known me back then. You could have called me and I said, have him dip it into a glass of milk. It'll take the fire
Yeah,
right out.
take right off. I think he wound up going and taking a shower or something like that until it
Water's the
calmed down.
worst thing you can do, though, if it's peppers.
Well, oil, you can't get that oil out. So you have to
No.
give it something. It's yeah.
Go get a milk bath.
Well, I mean, that's the story about the
Oh, well,
shaving.
it's almost like I gave you a preview of all these things because the next one's about spicy food. This is so weird. Okay, and then we're talking about weird, and this is weird, and we're going to do more weird. Okay. We got super drunk and ate a ton of spicy food in New Orleans. Back at the B&B, the food started to come out the backside. I was sitting on the toilet. Bricks of fire were coming out. I cleaned that up a little bit. Okay. At that moment, the booze decided to hang a U-turn. The trash can was out of reach, and I couldn't risk standing up from the toilet for even 5 seconds. So the closest receptacle was the bathtub. I managed to turn in such a way that I could keep doing the toilet dance while vomiting into the tub. Both ended up clogged, and there was no plunger. I don't think this is weird. This is just tragic. This is not weird. It's tragic.
It is tragic.
I had to call the owner because they're at a B&B. Okay. I had to call the owner to explain that I had destroyed both their toilet and their tub simultaneously. Oh, there you are.
Wow.
What are you doing?
My phone just told me that it's getting low, so I might have to change angles here. So I'll keep my sound on, but I'm turning my video off.
I don't think we need to say anything about this one. Let's just go to the next one.
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. I had never heard this term until today, and now this is the third time I've heard it. Silent disco. I hadn't heard that before.
Silent disco?
Silent disco. So there's no music. I once attended a silent disco event at a park, but I didn't have any headphones. So I guess they're playing the music through the headphones.
Oh.
So I just danced along with everyone to the silent beats, pretending to hear the music. It was bizarre to dance in silence, and I couldn't tell anyone because they would think I was weird. No, I just think you're stupid. There's a difference of weird and stupid. That was just stupid.
Oh, they were probably.
I mean, what's the point of a silent disco in the first place?
Right.
I don't get it.
But they were piping the music through headphones, right?
Headphones. That's what it sounds like. That's what it sounds like. Okay,
well, that would be kind of weird when you take the headphones off. You see everybody dancing, and it's just like, where's the music? So I don't know. I guess a sensory experience.
We should have rated these as we did them because I'd give this one a -0. All right. I was in like middle school, and my older sister and I somehow had a great idea. We took a bunch of our younger siblings' toys and made a horror scene with them in the basement, like red paint, blood, dismembered, hanging from the ceiling. We looked at our creation and immediately realized we went too far. Not only did we waste my mom's money, but would have traumatized the crap out of our two elementary schooler siblings. So we took it all down and disposed of the evidence quickly. No idea whose idea it was, but we decided never to tell them. LOL. Okay, that kind of creeps me out.
That's tragic. I mean, that's tragic. I mean, every year they do the elf on the shelf, you know, and it's like there are some people that come up with some really bizarre things, like for the elf on the shelf, you know.
Okay, so that annoys me. The elf on the shelf annoys me. Does that make me weird?
No.
No, it
I just want
annoys
to take,
me.
I just want to take the elf and I want to beat them on their head with it. It's just, I don't know. It just bugs me. Oh my God. All right. I read the first 4 words and went, okay. I was drunk. This sounds like a bad country and western song. I was drunk at an escape room with my coworkers. It was an extreme one where you are handcuffed the entire time. No.
With
I
another
decided,
person?
I don't know. I'm not going to have cuffs on,
Huh.
period. I decided in my drunken state that it would be badass to dislocate my thumb and slip off the cuffs like the movies. People are stupid. I'm sorry, that's not weird. That's stupid. It wasn't badass. We got kicked out. My coworkers were weirded out, and I had to go to the hospital. I quit a few weeks later. White collar wasn't for me. Oh my God, I would love to sit and talk to this person for 30 minutes and dislocate their brain. Oh my God.
I had a friend that could dislocate his shoulder, you know. It was just like he would just put it up over his head and dislocate his shoulder, and he created a nice little spiral with his arms.
Okay, so let's talk about this. This is a weirdness. The escape rooms and those other places where you go and break things and stuff. I've watched videos of that, and I'm like, that's vintage. That's vintage. That's vintage. Why are they tearing the hell out of that shit? That's
Yep.
all vintage. Why are they doing that? And so, following the line of quantum physics and stuff, I don't know about you, but if I get violent, it makes me more violent. It doesn't make me feel better.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
what is the purpose of that? And does it really help?
I've been to one of those rooms. I mean, I've taken a sledgehammer to a car, you know, and so it's I would say that's therapeutic if you go in with the mindset that you're just beating that whatever, into submission and whatever. So if you go, but there's just people that go in just for rage purposes and just like let it all hang out, because they feel that, if I keep this pent up, that, it's going to go off on someone or whatever. So, I mean, I can see the reason for the panic rooms. I did it once, and that's probably all that I need.
Well, when I see them tearing up things that are perfectly sellable, the waste gets to me, the practicality of the waste or impracticality of it. And escape rooms, I'm not doing. Scott one time took me for New Year's Eve to a murder mystery theater. And I said, don't ever do that again.
well,
With
I'd like to try the escape rooms one time because to me it's like a puzzle.
what?
You have to figure it out.
Oh
It's like
no,
a
see,
puzzle.
yeah, I don't like puzzles.
Yeah.
There you go.
But I do this in my real life. I'm always figuring out how people think, looking for the options, figuring out which way they're going to go, different things. So I guess I get more than not my fair share doing investigations. But I proceeded to make an ass of myself that night. I figured out the whole thing within 10 minutes, proceeded to get totally wasted and ruined everything for everybody because I kept telling them what was going to happen.
They're so bad.
Oh, I was not happy. And I took the whole room down with me. That was not nice of me. I feel bad about it, but
Well,
it
I
is
think
what.
that, not trying to brag or anything, but I think between you and I, we could probably solve the murder mystery because we could read everybody's faces and know,
Yeah.
yeah, who was involved and who wasn't involved, and kind of like watching for people to look a direction, or they're looking at something. It's like we could probably figure it out.
Well,
And
I don't remember much about it because, like I said, I spent a lot of time with my liquor. But Scott swears I looked at everybody at one point and says, "You know what? I am so bored. I just wish all of you would die."
Oh wow. Oh
damn,
wow.
Now,
that
I
was
question that. I question that because that's not. Oh, what are you doing?
oh hello.
That's one of those messages that come through that said you might hear. So my
Oh,
apologies.
so I don't. I think he was just kind of poking at me because he knew that I would make me upset to think I said that, but because I don't recall saying that, but maybe I did. I hope I didn't.
Well, we say things when we're drunk that we don't remember sometimes.
Okay, let's see here. Oh, okay. Now we're in the water park. When I was a kid, I was in a big indoor water park. Have you noticed that most of these are young kids that did weird things? Now, adults do weird things, like, you know, smell their underarms or something, like before you go in, smell your. I don't think that's weird. I think everybody does that. But
I
anyway,
do it on a date, so I haven't done it in a while.
smell your breath,
Yeah.
make sure it doesn't stink. When I was a kid, I was in a big indoor water park, which had a large whirlpool like thing. I had to take a, he had to go to the bathroom, but it was too much fun in there to get out. What? Oh, in the water park, not at the bathroom. My
Yeah.
childish reasoning said the bubbly surface would cover everything underneath, so I just pulled my swimming pants down and set it loose, believing the
Oh my
bubbly
God.
surface would hide it. Nobody's
No,
that stupid.
no,
Nobody's
no.
that stupid. What the heck?
I've
I should
I've been
have.
to a water park. I've been to a water park where they were in the like the calm part, where you're normal saloon. And the guy went in there and all of a sudden it was like this you know, purple gas like started surrounding him in the pool. And so they put something in the water that would change the color of the water when you pissed in the water.
Ugh. This is why I don't like swimming pools. I like to swim in clear water, rivers, and creeks. I don't
Yep.
like lakes. You can't see in there. Don't like the ocean. You can't see in there. Or if you can, it's really deep and you can't see 360. You have to be doing this the whole time, going
Yeah.
round and
Whole
round.
time.
Yeah, I don't like
You've
that.
never been to the Caribbean then.
No, because I have no desire to.
What's
That's
the
a
difference there?
beautiful clear water there.
Yeah, but you can't see everything around you. It's huge. If I had like a 10-foot radius around me that was enclosed so I could know what was around me, I'm telling you, look at my skin. It's beautiful. I am the other white meat. Those sharks want me. Pork ain't got nothing on me, baby. Okay, this one cracks me up. When I was in middle school, I covered myself with chocolate pudding and Kraft Singles American cheese and would run out in front of incoming traffic on my street pretending to be a monster.
Okay.
What? Do you know how bad my butt would have gotten whipped for wasting food if we'd done anything
Oh my
like
God.
that? Oh
There
my
was a
God.
group of guys that had a mannequin. Well, it was mostly stuffed, I think, stuffed clothes. It wasn't,
Like a scarecrow?
yeah, it wasn't solid, I don't think, but I don't remember. But they would set it where we live, there's a lot of corners that go like that. And they would set it just around the corner, which means they didn't have time to react and I run into it.
Yeah. You run into it. Okay, so you brought up toilets. Okay, and you brought up scarecrows. So I have a story about a toilet and a scarecrow.
Oh
Okay.
my
Uh-uh.
goodness. Oh my gosh.
One day for my dad's birthday, one of the neighbors actually, like, everybody kind of knew, and we had this kind of like semicircle, like where the driveway was. So the driveway went up around, and so you could go in a lower driveway and you could go in an upper driveway. And so that made it kind of like a little area. There's trees planted, like, so there was kind of a little barrier like between the road and this grassy area that went out to the road. And so it was for my dad's birthday. They took and put a toilet out there with a guy reading the paper supposedly, but it says honk, it's my birthday.
Mm.
Okay, so the sign beside him had like both directions, honk, it's my birthday. And so it was a pretty well traveled road. So people were honking all
Oh,
freaking
dead.
day long. Okay. I mean, it was just like they were doing it all day long. Well, they let this up for like 2 or 3 days. It was there for like forever. Okay. And so I got the great idea of like actually unstuffing the scarecrow, and taking the place of the scarecrow on the toilet. So as people were honking and everything like that, I'd wait. Okay. And I had so many people like screaming their tires. Okay. Well, that wasn't the worst I did. That was not the worst I did. So my stepmother had gone out for groceries. Okay. And I knew that she would be returning soon. So she drives in the upper driveway and she drives around. And so she's at the car getting the groceries out. And I I kind of like lean to the side and go, Barb, Barb, Barb. And finally she was like, and she went back to getting the groceries out. Barb. And she's like, finally she's looking straight at the scarecrow. She's looking straight at the scarecrow, going, is that coming from there? And I got up and I started running towards her.
You have a mean streak.
I got grounded for 2 months because I made her pee her pants in the driveway.
Oh my God. We're gonna have to do a thing about the worst thing we ever did as teenagers. Well, maybe.
Uh, yeah, oh, I could write a book. I could definitely write a book.
Oh my God. Okay, we got two more left, I think. During lockdown, I was invited to a fight club in an abandoned farm. That's Scott's favorite movie. He loves Fight Club. Drove down and ended up fighting two people at various levels and styles. Last fight, we all just collectively decided to fight nude because that's what the ancient Greeks did. Sure. Sure, that was the reason.
I'm sorry, they were excited before that time. I no.
Yeah, we ended up fighting 3 2-minute rounds before shaking hands, going our own way. Box was ticked and never felt the urge to do it again, whoever Box is. Stupid thing though. How do you want to meet two strangers at an abandoned farmhouse and also fight them? I think there's
I
more to
don't get
this
the idea. I don't get the idea of Fight Club. I really don't. I mean, I watched the movie and I'm like, why?
Well, Scott likes it because of the mental intrigue, because the two main characters is one person. He's
Yeah.
mentally ill. And so he likes it from that perspective, the dynamic of the personalities that work against each other. I can't watch it. It freaks me out. It makes me uncomfortable. So
Well, I mean, I can see it from like a psychological. It's like a psychological thing.
yeah,
But when he was doing it, he was inciting, and there were people there that didn't have a psychological thing going on. There were people that actually,
yeah,
would
those are the
buy.
people that bug
Like,
me.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So it's really strange because you know what? In a lot of ways, mentally ill people make a lot more sense than average people do, especially if you
that,
understand their thought process. That's one of the things I found out years ago, that I just have an affinity for people with bipolar disorder and stuff. I get them. And I've been tested and I don't have it. So don't even be thinking it out there in la
yeah.
la land. Not that I would care, but in fact, I kind of felt left out there because I knew so many people that did have bipolar, and I'm like, I don't. I feel left out. But um, I'm just weird. But I like psychological movies, but I couldn't watch the fighting because it
No,
was so pointless. It was so pointless. All right, here's the last one. Let's see what they did here. All right, all throughout middle school, there was someone who tucked unwrapped Hostess devil dogs into the toilet paper dispensers in the bathrooms so that when you pulled some toilet paper out, the devil dog would fall out into your hand. We had to have an assembly about it. That person was me. Oh. Ta-da!
I don't know what that is.
A devil dog, it's 2 layers of chocolate cake that has just a thin little cream filling in between it, but it just looks nasty. They just
Yeah,
look nasty.
if you laid it on top of the toilet paper with the kind of the baked side down, then it had the cream. So whenever someone went for the toilet paper, okay, it would fall out in their hands because you put it in there's a dispenser, okay, and they would turn the the toilet paper around, so you had to pull it from the front. So you went to pull the thing, and all of a sudden this thing pops out and just goes splat on your hands like a turd.
Okay.
I don't think these things are weird at all. I think they're stupid.
Well, yeah, it's the stupid things that people do. I mean, it really is. It's the stupid things that people do.
I don't get it. I don't know why people think I'm weird then. Everything I do, it makes sense.
You know what? I mean, I think that I'm weird too. I mean, I'll be a free person. I mean, I'll freely admit I'm weird. I'm weird, you know, and some people can't take my weirdness, you know, the whole thing at the mall, you know, talking and making up dialogue and, you know, doing different things like stealing salt and pepper shakers from someplace just because I didn't get good service, you know,
Why?
because I'm weird.
Well, I guess I don't know. I've heard people say that they would leave gum under the table when they got
Yeah.
bad. So I don't know. Is that weird? I don't know. I think we use the word weird wrong, frankly.
I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I think weird describes a behavior that
Yeah, I do too.
that you do.
But some of
Like,
this is just illegal and immoral,
that's true. That's true.
you know. So
You know, but I mean, like, for example, the whole toilet thing, you know, making sure the toilet flushes before you wash your hands. Okay, that's a
that's
behavior that's weird.
that's weird.
Right.
Eating cigarette ashes is weird. Killing
Yes.
a rat when you're little, that's psychotic.
I was
No,
protecting my mom.
Well, that was good. Yeah, that was good. Um, okay,
But the
so
rock
I
was the
traumatized
rock.
my own self with a weird behavior that, I mean, it wasn't weird what I did initially, but it got out of hand because I tried to fix it. So there was this really good looking boy in 3rd grade, and I remember his name, Matt Lyle. And he had this curly, dark hair and big, full lips, and he was not fat, but he was chunky, so
yeah.
he was heavier than most of the boys. So he looked like a little Greek god. I just thought he was gorgeous. And he never would pay any attention to me, ever, 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 ever. And so we were playing chase out on the playground, and I ran up and grabbed him and kissed him on the cheek real quick. And the minute I did that, I think the whole neighborhood surrounding the school saw what happened. I mean, everybody saw. They started laughing. We go in from recess, everybody's still laughing. And the teacher goes, "What happened?" They go, "Deborah kissed Dad. Deborah kissed Dad." And I went, "No, I didn't. I stumbled and my lips grazed his cheek." Now, what 3rd grader uses the word grazed first of
Just grazed his cheek.
Well, that just made people laugh even harder. And I can tell you at that moment, I said, I am never, ever going to make excuses for what I do. And I'm never going to lie about it. I mean, that was a powerful, emotional decision. And I guess that's why I don't care what people think about me and why I just do what I do and say the hell with it. Because I mean, that was, I mean, a huge impact on me. And so afterward, I went up to him and said, "Yeah, I kissed you." And I did it again, but I did it on his lips that time. I said, "Now it's been done properly."
Ooh.
3rd grade.
3rd grade. 3rd grade.
What age is that?
Well, for me, I was not quite 8 because I was the youngest in my class because of the way my birthday fell.
Yeah, so 7, 8.
I didn't go to kindergarten. That's weird.
I didn't go
I
to
think,
kindergarten.
do they have kindergarten when we were kids?
No.
My brothers went to kindergarten.
I mean, we had a kindergarten in our school, so I mean, there was a kindergarten in my school district.
Well, I didn't go
Yes,
to
but you
kindergarten.
came along 20 years after us.
No, not 20. Don't be aging us that way. He's the same age as Scott, and he's 12 years younger than me.
Okay, 12.
It's so funny. When I was in my 20s, I used to date people that was 6 years older than me. And then I dated people 12 years older than me. And then when I turned 30, I started dating people that was 6 years younger than me and then 12 years younger than me. I like those
I
numbers.
say go for the young ones.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I'm telling you. I mean, from take it from experience. Okay, if he's more than 20 years like younger than you, just don't do it. There's nothing you can connect on. I mean, there's some things you can connect on, but I mean, otherwise, your brain isn't there yet. It's just not there.
What is she doing?
I don't know. I think she's wiping her nose.
No, no.
Oh my God, that's so weird.
Scott and I have enough in common and overlap. But there are some things you're like, oh wow, he missed out on that, but not very often, not a lot of things. It's just enough to make it interesting. The only thing that really is different for us is he loves 80s punk, loves 80s punk. And I like some of it because I like a little bit of everything. But I mean, all of it seems to be so angry and so dark and everything. And I can only take like little bitty doses of it. And then I got to have some reggae or some country or anything. Oh my God, anything. Because after a while, I mean, I would just, I don't know how people just don't, go to bed and hide after listening to that for very long. So,
Well, okay. So here's another weird thing I do. Okay, because I wear cologne, every once in a while. But I have to match my cologne to my deodorant because I don't want them to smell different.
no, that's metrosexual. That's not weird. I know a lot of metrosexual men that do that. Now, it pisses me off that they do that because I can't stand a man that spends more time in the bathroom getting ready than I do. That just
Well,
hacks me off. Now, this is what I do that's weird too. I don't want my men going to get pedicures.
really?
Yeah, that bugs me. Mm-mm. I don't know. I mean, some things are just sacred. They're just, you know, we can share a
Wait,
massage.
what does a man do that you just like, no, don't do that. No, don't do that.
They will tell me how I will tell them what I think of something or how I feel about something. They say, no, you don't feel it.
Damn,
I said,
nobody dare say that to me.
no.
So another thing that I find a lot with my friends that are like dating and so on and so forth is mansplaining. Like women don't understand, so they have to mansplain it. Okay. To me, that's weird. I mean, it's just like, why? Why would you do that? I mean, they have a brain, you know?
So that pisses me off. It pisses me off if they say something like, well, listen, little lady, or listen, little gal, or whatever. But on the other side of that coin is that if I've had a couple of beers or a bourbon and he's really good looking, he goes, now listen, darling. Oh, I love that. You know,
No,
I
darling.
I love that. I don't like men that don't take care of their shoes.
Yeah.
They can dress pretty much just about any way they want to, but if their shoes are not good quality and not taken care of, mm-mm. And if they really want my attention, nice cowboy boots. But
Mm.
if they're wearing shoes, they need to be clean. They need to look like they've at least been polished once a year, and don't be walking around in sandals with socks. Oh my Lord.
Oh no. Oh no, 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 no. No.
Or how about shorts, tennis shoes, and black socks that you pull up to your knees? No.
No.
They don't, I wouldn't even let them in the car with me.
Stop.
Hey,
We're not,
I've had occasions that I've had to look at someone and go, are you serious? Are you wearing that out?
I just say, no, you're not. Go change. I just, and hygiene's real important to me because, about
Mhm.
smells, you
Yeah.
know, I don't, if they match their deodorant with their aftershave or whatever, that's okay, except if they obsess over it. If they obsess over it, I'm gonna I'm gonna take alcohol and douse them with it and set them on fire. So
Okay. Well, I take my cologne to the store with me.
that's fine. But don't like have a freak out because you ran out of something or we got to go to the store and get this right now type of crap. I mean, that kind of obsessing. And and for God's sake, throw your clothes. They don't have to be really sharply pressed, but at least throw them in the dryer and get the big wrinkles out. You know, act like you care about how you look because that tells me how much you're going to act if you care about me.
Yeah.
If you don't take care of yourself, then how can I think that you're going to take care of me?
That's a good point. That's a good point. I mean, like all of this stuff, we do to like make sure that we're, I don't know, I guess appropriate for the other party. Um, it's like a mating thing. It's like a
Uh,
mating thing.
okay, so in talking about this, I did something weird in conjunction with this. I remember it was right after my first divorce, and this guy came to pick me up, and he was not dressed well. And I just looked at him and I started taking my clothes off. And he goes, "What are you doing?" He goes, "Do you want to have sex?" I said, "Absolutely not. You don't care how you look, so why should I even bother being dressed?"
Yeah.
You know? I was outrageous when I was younger. I was really
I'm
outrageous.
going to find that out. I'm going to find that out. So,
I think I live for shock value sometimes. Maybe.
so Luann, you've been kind of quiet and everything else like that. Are these situations uncomfortable?
No, I've not really experienced any of them.
Okay.
Luann has been a good girl all her life. We should take her out and get her really drunk and high, drunk and high.
Drunk and high. I
I don't
I
like to
I
be
could
out. I don't
I
like
could
to
see
be
that
out of
though.
control.
I can see that. I can see her, doing that, her being chaperoned. I think that, she would be okay. We would know that when she was going too far, we could calm her down.
Yeah, we won't drink and we won't get high. We'll be your bodyguards.
That's right.
And I promise that we will not make you wear Matthew's rabbit suit.
Yeah, don't wear the rabbit suit. Don't wear the rabbit suit.
Yeah, don't wear
Um,
that either, Matthew. I don't want to ever
well,
see you again.
okay. So at one time I did a singing telegram. Okay. And the company that I did it for dressed me up in a pink hippo suit with a what do you call it? What are the skirts? The
Tutu,
the
tutu.
Yeah,
It's a
tutu.
tutu.
So it was a huge tutu, a huge pink tutu. Okay. And of course, I mean, I was in the mask and everything like that. But um I was like, I could see through the nostrils of the suit, and that's all I could see.
Oh my
That's
God.
all I could see. So I'm here stumbling into this freaking office, okay, into this man's like, boardroom or whatever else like that, and he's of course doing a meeting, and so I'm in there, and I had to do the voice, so I'm here for your birthday, so I had to sing her happy birthday in that stupid voice, okay. The guy got on the phone, called his wife, okay, and proceeded to scream at her for sending the hippo to his meeting.
Oh my God. Oh,
And so I was like, okay, I'm not going to do this. I'm like, bye. And I just walked away. I got to the elevator and took the mask head off. And I was like, oh, fuck this. Never again. Never again. Nope. But I mean, I like to dress up. I mean, in costume and go to Renaissance fairs and things like that. I mean, there was one time that I went to the Scarborough Fair, which is over here in Waxahachie. And I dressed as like kind of a priest, so to speak. I mean, it looked like I was a priest because I had the black hat, you know, which was kind of like the sat on my head, you know, like the Pope has. And I had robes and vestments, and you know, big, you know, what do you call it, big amulet, you know, on me, and so on and so forth. And yeah, it was a perfect thing for. I mean, and I just had this air of like when I was walking, yeah, really playing the character, you know. If people would like, you know, like wave at me or talk to me, I would be like, but the thing that was, I asked the person that I was dating at the time if he would come with me, and he's like, great, you know, so on and so forth. Well, he got a full set of armor.
Oh Lord.
And so you have these two people like walking around, okay? And all of the people that were in character there at the Renaissance Fair, they would see me coming and they would get down on their knees.
Oh my gosh.
And so everywhere I went, because I had this knight beside me and I looked like I was like, you know, royal vestments or something like that. I mean, or like a priest or whatever else like that. I saw people doing this.
Oh, that's hilarious.
I mean,
That's
and so we walked around the whole fair, you know, with me dressed up like that. And I think I have a picture of me somewhere. I'll have to find it. But I mean, it was the fun. I mean, we had the most fun just walking around, you know. We would go up to the people and you know, people would give us free drinks. They were in character. So, I mean, they gave like the religious people free drinks, you know. I had to pay for the guy that was with me, but
we should corset Luann up and take her to Scarborough because with her big breast and a really great
oh,
corset.
I can see Luann in one of those, yeah, one of those old time dresses. Luann, I can see you. I can see you
I
in
have a
one.
bunch of them. You know, I have an entire closet. Since this is Miles with Smiles, our sponsor, let me bring that up real quick. I have an entire closet in my front bedroom that's nothing but things that I can mix and match for, you know, not costumes, but kind of costumes for the different gigs that we do. And I have some Renaissance Fair stuff and things like that. So, do you need to go, babe?
Yeah, I do. I do. I need
Okay.
to drop off the call. I have a doctor here that wants to talk with me. So
All right.
I am
Tell us
going
about
Okay,
your.
to
well, I want to show
say every,
everybody this. Oh,
Well, Luann, we'll stay on. We'll let Matthew go and we'll stay on and we'll let you do that.
Matthew did this and it looks so good.
yeah. I mean, that's a great label. And I'll tell you what, I've been telling everybody about it. So I'm Matthew Pierce, signing off. Bye-bye.
Get well soon. Oh my God, what a mess today. All right, babe. Tell them about your new products. Tell them about how much success Matthew's had with your new skin cream and how they can buy that.
Well, I don't, he has used it just on one hand. And the hand that he's been using it on looks so much younger than the other one. And it's already, uh, what am I going to say? I think it's lightened some of his dark spots and things, but his hand looks more plump, shall I say, than the one he's not been putting lotion on.
Yeah, I saw it a couple of days ago and she's right. And I think the vitamin C that's in there is fading the age spots.
Yeah,
But the hand is plumping.
it's not this one. This is just the hand cream. The
Okay.
one the vitamin C is in the holistic healing cream
Well,
with the face cream. And
I
the
love my
face
face serum. I love my face serum. I
yeah.
do. I do. All right, tell them where they can find this stuff and you can get elderberry
You can
syrup.
find me my stuff at www.ancientherbalapothecary.com, and you can email me at luann@ancientherbalapothecary.com.
Very good. And our sponsor is milesofsmilesevents.com. And we are Inspired Intuitive Entertainment, and all of us are available to come out and entertain you doing readings. Just had a fabulous weekend of doing Uniquely Yours, which is handwriting analysis and kiss readings this past weekend. And the people literally didn't want to let me come home, which would have been fine with me because the food was great there. And get a chance, visit DeborahColleenRose.com. I have rebranded myself, and I have decided to start taking new coaching clients. I haven't done that in several years, and it's already picking up. And I do all kinds of coaching, but I'm really focused on spiritual coaching, helping you to find what you really believe in and how you incorporate that in your daily life. So anyway, we will see y'all next week. We're talking again. Watch out, and
I
y'all
know.
stay out of, don't be weird. Bye.